And we're here.
That was incredibly quick.
This is uh this is it, guys. 100th episode.
We made it.
Doesn't really feel fun to talk about, even though half of the match or half of the episode, well, a third of the episode, I should say, will be at least good spirited. But we have a long. It's going to be a long show tonight. Um, sorry if I break any hearts, but here we go. Welcome to the Snobby Boys.
I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype. Throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time. Every time. Every time. Yeah!
All right, everybody, welcome to the Snobby Boy Podcast. I'm Colby. That's Joe.
Good evening, everyone. Jo, thank you, sir. Good to see you in here live since we're going a little earlier.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, big guy.
Appreciate
Definitely
you a whole
champions
lot.
till we die.
Appreciate you a whole lot. A lot to cover in this one. We're going to be hitting Leicester. We're going to hit the Derby, hitting some news, and well, you'll find out at the end what the big boom is, won't you? If you haven't already picked up on the context of things. But let's go ahead and get into it, Joe.
Let us start off with our midweek match against Leicester. We're going to jump in with a little bit of Pep presser highlights. He did come in and confirmed with us that he was told 5 to 7 weeks for Erling before he's back. So that pretty much just about rules him out for the remainder of the season. Maybe back
FA Cup, potentially.
for potentially the final of the FA if we get that far, and then the FIFA Club World Cup, probably ready back for that. But like we have, both of us feel and have mentioned before, let us not take that competition overly serious. Let's not rush him back if he is not needed. We have confirmed that Marmoush also is not going to be participating with Egypt's international break over the summertime. He is going to be with us for the Club World Cup. Let him play the 9. Let him get some minutes in there. Let him get used to, filling in for Holland and getting more comfortable with the boys. So also during that talk, Pep mentioned that this was kind of a continuation of the theme of the season where we're just consistently can't go a couple of matches without somebody pulling up hurt, injured, and missing extended periods of time. So it is what it is at this point. Injury bug was real this year. Pep also kind of pushed back on a reporter who was asking questions around if this has been the toughest battle, toughest season that he's faced in charge at Manchester City. And Pep kind of like laughed and gave his signature, smile and smug look and was like, we've had much tougher seasons than this before, where we've had to go on 16, 17 game like winning streaks, having to win every single match because either Arsenal or Liverpool have been keeping pace with us. And we knew if we dropped any points, that was a wrap on winning the title, not just trying to qualify for Champions League spots. So it was interesting to see Pep kind of like, I love when he pushes back on like kind of stupid questions that reporters like to ask. So,
Yeah.
was this a difficult season? Yes. Was it the toughest one we've had to face? No. Starting in like what February, knowing that you have to win every game going for the rest of the season to win the title.
Yeah. And
That's
Liverpool
unreal.
was already brushing at the 20-point mark
Yeah.
above us. So it was like,
Yeah.
it's kind of at this point out of reach. Though, Scoutsland did drop one today.
That they did.
So.
And then last kind of piece from the Leicester, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there, Kelly.
Got to go through Leicester first.
Yes. We didn't have a
we'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there. But then one of the big pieces, obviously, we knew was the protests that were going to be happening pre-match outside of the stadium, and then for the first 9 minutes of the match, the Pep was asked about that situation leading up to the match. He said he has some sympathy for fans and they can express their feelings. Everybody's allowed to do that. But he also said we need them in minute 1 to achieve the goals of making Champions League spots. So he was like very diplomatic and political answer, which you'd come to expect from him. He knows he's got to placate a little bit to them. He can't just go out and bash them. But he also was like, we need you guys from the first minute to be there, be loud, because we have goals that we need to achieve, and you're a part of this. So I'm glad that he said, I do have sympathy for them. I understand it. They'll come to a resolution as long as both sides keep communicating, pretty much. And then he was like, but we need you guys there from the opening jump.
This is a nice extension of what we said last episode from Pep. I could be a lot more real about it. The problem, yes, I get the third-party ticket thing. It is what it is. Business is business. There's nothing we can do about it until you're a fucking minority owner and can make some real change. Pay through the club. Don't support those third-party sites if it's such a fucking problem. But also, your tax situation on a government level, that's y'all's problem. That's a whole other thing that you could be protesting, what should be protested. I'm really happy for all the people that are over there protesting all the bullshit that's over there right now. Not to go too far on that, but it all kind of plays hand in hand to me.
You got to direct your energy towards the correct people.
Yeah, let's not make it the club's fault.
We'll jump into the match at this point. 2 minutes in, old Jackie boy, with a half-empty stadium, scores. First goal in a very long time. Big moment for him.
Massive moment.
Especially because of his personal life going on, too. We know that 25 years ago, he lost his younger brother very early on in life, knew that was a big day for him, had a lot of his family in attendance to be there together. And for him to score that early into the match on a big day like that for him, it would have been really nice for him to be able to celebrate that with all of the fans actually in their seats and being with him in that moment. To show him support. I get the protesting piece and not being happy with it. But the players didn't do anything to deserve not to be supported. They are on the pitch every day, practicing, training, every match. Sometimes it doesn't look like they're giving their best effort, but again, we have to remember they're humans and maybe give a little bit of grace in that situation, but also be there to support. It takes 2 seconds to look up Jack and a little bit of history to find out that today, that match was a big deal for him. And it would have been a nicer look and gesture, in my opinion, to be there to support him, clap him up, cheer him up. Well, obviously we don't know he's going to score that early in the match.
Right.
But be in your seat and be ready to support him in that situation, because
let's not think about yourself for the 5 seconds. Because really, at the end of the day, it's really not about y'all. It's not about us. It's about them. They're the ones that are on the pitch. We're supposed to be their support, not their deterrence.
So I really wish
across the entire league, and really, if anybody's looking in on this situation, it's a bad look on us.
Jack got to celebrate. He enjoyed obviously the moment, but he ran towards the edge of the pitch looking for some validation and some companionship from the crowd, and just it was very sad to me to watch that on TV, to see him not have a full amount of full support to back him, because again, it's about people and supporting one of our own. And Jack has been nothing but a phenomenal servant to the club, to the community, to other people, because you look at what he does with kids, with other fans. Like
Especially special needs kids, man. Like
he's a phenomenal person, and
yeah,
so that part was just really disappointing to me.
extremely. The real fans were in their seats. I'm going to just say that boldly because at this point, I don't give a fuck. The real fans were in their seats. That first 9 minutes, the rest of y'all that came out, you ain't fans to me. I don't care how that makes anybody feel at all. Nobody's really concerned about other people's feelings if we're being honest. So if we're not going to be honest about not being honest about our feelings, then here's me being honest and telling you. That's a stain, bro.
And
you fucked up my shirt. That's all you did.
And you're just because we're not there doesn't mean our opinion is any less than anybody else's.
Yeah,
and feelings and emotions. So
that's a whole
Gundo Kelkster also mentioned Gundo looked better next to Nico. Him and having Gonzo in there certainly is a much better look than what it was today.
Oh yeah,
where more Kova and Gundo pairing, not thrilled with that. But having Gonzo back there to provide the cover and do that work much better. So further on into the match, the press was on. We had our younger, quicker legs out there. We had Gonzo, Nico on the left back spot getting forward, and then you have Savino and Doku and Marmouche just terrorizing the press for Leicester the entire match.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was really nice to see.
Just like inspired and
like
we were back to our old selves.
Yes,
like all the new guys are starting to click together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it caused numerous turnovers that gave us opportunities. Unfortunately, we weren't able to extend the lead very much, but the desire was there, the legs were there from all of the front three, and it was just relentless. Turned into Leicester. The only option was to boot it long. They prefer to play out of the back, but they could not do that in this match. It was too high of a press. We were far more organized than I've seen us in a long time when we were pressing.
That pass through up to Marmouche, that was it was. I'm just gonna read it verbatim. Marmouche was dangerously tackled after having intercepting another low grade pass from Leicester, which is again to Joe's point. Like their passing was absolutely awful. It gave us every bit of chance to intercept every single one of them, and we did. We capitalized on that. We capitalized on that a lot, which I really thought we could translate into today's match, which we'll get there in a little bit. And it just didn't. You know, the passing lanes is one thing that we have not been able to sniff out because of our positioning all season long. Now, granted, Leicester is a much lesser club than we are. I hate to say that because when you're in the Premier League, you're the top of the top. But they didn't show themselves to be as competitive, as gritty, as present. Present could be a good term for that. Because it was senseless pass after senseless pass. Let's talk about a potential non-call on Doku though, because it led to another fucking corner though. I think there was like 3 corners within 2 minutes.
Yep.
What should have happened there, man? Like that felt cardable.
100%.
I mean, am I just?
No, you're not. I've said the same thing when we were watching it on Wednesday evening. Was very obviously a card in my book, but
yeah. Savino had a good try on it though.
He did.
Savino had a very nice game on it. I was honestly really impressed with our speed and ability to stay on the ball in this match. We controlled the first half. seamlessly. It was we just took every chance that we possibly could have had. And I was like I said earlier about the younger kids. I think this is a really good glimpse into the future of what we're going to see with our club. I mean, if we can start stacking games up like that Leicester one, obviously, it's going to be a little bit different against higher caliber clubs, but all the same, we can start getting that root, that synchronicity, that seamless moving. We'll be good going forward. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was on full display. And then when we had the ball, Leicester were, one could say they were somewhat organized, I guess, but they were not attempting to press anybody who had the ball whatsoever. They were very content, just shifting around, casually, like jogging to different spots on the field to kind of somewhat take up passing lanes. If I was a Leicester traveling supporter, I would have been very upset with the way that, one, the team was set up, and two, the way that they were casually playing the entire match. There was no closing down of any Manchester City player. They let us pass the ball around and into spaces at will. There wasn't a lot of heart or desire to keep us from doing what we wanted, which we did the entire match. First half, second half, it was all City the entire time.
All time.
Whole game. Another questionable call or non-call, if you will, in the box. Jack, to me, clearly earned himself a PK. He was going to strike the ball, and the Leicester player, kind of stuck his foot in really late and prevented him from kicking it. Yeah. Well, Southampton today officially is relegated.
Yep,
the earliest ever for a Premier League season for that to happen. So yeah. So to me, very clear foul in the box. Should have been a PK. But again, the referee didn't see it that way and got to press on, unfortunately. But it was very clearly a foul. I totally understood Jack's demonstrative response to the not to call, because he was completely right. Like he knew. We all saw it, except for the referee, and he's the one that counts, unfortunately. So
they seem to not see a lot of things.
Yeah, that happens a lot, especially when it happens to us.
Right.
I felt like Nunez in this game was a absolute difference maker against Leicester. Because they weren't pressing very high or working very hard to win the ball back, it gave him a lot of more license to do what he does best, which is to be a nuisance up and down the flank and to get in more advanced positions. And he was selflessly making runs past people, trying to open up space for others with his runs and give them options to pass the ball. So I was very impressed with Nunez in that game. Just defensively didn't have a lot to do, so he was doing a lot of his damage in the offensive side, just like us. But he was to me an absolute X factor for us, providing extra width down the sideline.
It has been an agenda to keep us down for a while, so
they're taking their opportunities while we are down to keep us
right.
where we are. So, Steve-O, spot on, bro.
Most conspiracies are true, so most, not
all. Kind of more of what I said earlier. We completely controlled the match. Pretty much the whole second half was us in possession, trying to break down their parking the bus, pretty much. I really,
people ever do to us, man. Just park the bus.
Felt like it was, like I said earlier, to me it was a pathetic performance by Leicester. They seemed content with losing and just not conceding like 4 or 5 or 6 goals. And if you want to stay in the Premier League, that ain't the way about going about it. Your goal differential is already shit, so that's not going to help matters. What's going to help is actually getting some points. So maybe play that way and don't just sit back and hope not to get your brains beat in. But when you do that, guess what happens? You get your brains beat in regardless, and you still lose. So you give yourself no chance. So I really didn't understand. Yeah, exactly. I just don't understand playing that way at the top level and knowing, like, again, if you look at the table, I'm pretty sure their goal differential is horrible. So
Yeah,
whether they
it's
lose
pretty
two
sure.
nothing, whether you use 2-0 or you lose 6-0, it's not, goal differential is not going to come into play for you over the last 5-6 games because your goal differential is such shit. What's going to make a difference is if you get a point or three and actually try to play. So anytime clubs come out and do this and managers go this route and they decide like they're not going to play the game, those are the people in my book that are quote unquote ruining football, not Pep Guardiola because of the style of play that he does. It's people who just set up shop, don't even try to play, and are content with losing. Those are managers and clubs that are ruining the game, not people who are trying to play and trying to win everything like that. Like, it makes no sense.
It's everything's backwards. Everything.
100%. So like we said too, that match felt like City of old. We controlled possession. We created lots of chances. We saw them pressing high, pressing hard, and it just felt like an old City match from the past few years. So it was really refreshing because we haven't seen a performance like that out of the guys.
Solid
Yeah,
take. I love that.
yeah, Steve, yes,
Solid.
exactly. And then the biggest thing out of the second half for me, obviously, was Oscar Bob got some minutes. He finally got back on the pitch and was able to run around. So super happy that he got a cameo in, got to stretch his legs, and start building up that form that we saw over the summertime in the first early stages of the season, where he was one of our, if not the best player we had on the pitch at times. So it's exciting going forward, knowing that we have him, Savinho, and Doku on the wings for the foreseeable future.
I
Those
mean,
three are going to be.
until Holland comes back, and then they run that plus Marmouche or Foden in behind, hoping, barring that Foden actually picks up his game coming next season, because Homeboy has lost it a little bit. Something ain't right.
He needs a break. He needs a break,
Something
legitimate break, and not a 2-week break. He needs to spend some time on himself, and because it's been coming out that he's been dealing with some emotional issues off of the pitch and some personal things. So to me, that screams, Phil, you got to take care of number one first and take care of you. And when you feel like you're in a better spot mentally, then we'll work on stuff on the pitch, and that will help both.
I have to agree with this, and I know that it comes from the place of loyalty. He has this weird level of loyalty towards these players that have been around over the last 8 seasons, and I mean, I get it to a point. There's a trust level, but also like when your younger guys are outperforming your veterans, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to then kill what you had moving into the next game, knowing that it has a whole lot more weight than poopy old Leicester. Which, funny, I want to tell a little story. So a lot of the street names in my town are named after English towns, and one of them is Leicester, right? But you know how everybody around here pronounces it?
Oh God,
Leicester.
Jesus. No.
What?
No. Leicester. Lord have mercy.
There's a lot of people that don't even get Norfolk right.
This is true.
Like,
Norfolk.
Or Portsmouth. It was like Portsmouth. I'm like, no. It's Portsmouth.
Yeah. I back when several months back when Pep's divorce and everything became public knowledge, I brought this up. I truly, deeply believe that shook him to his core as a person, and that's a driving force behind why he's been extra reliant on guys that he's known for a long time, because the whole family dynamic changing, and that breaks trust in your whole life when that kind of thing happens. So I truly believe that because you said he never used to be sentimental. He wasn't like this before, and now all of a sudden he's running Gundo out there every fucking match. He's running Bernie out there, Kevin and Kovacic, all these older similar players all the time, even after he saw how well it worked with our younger guys. So I personally fully believe, and people can't tell me otherwise, that's a big reason why he's been making some of the decisions he has, because he lost control over his personal life in that situation and lost trust in a lot of things. So now he's clinging to what he can and with the guys that he knows and has gone to battle with over a extended period of time. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I think that's the reason behind why it has happened and has gone the way it has. So,
Man of the match.
For all the things that we mentioned earlier, considering everything that was going on in his personal life that day, I have to give it to Jack, and special day for him, his family, getting an early goal clearly meant a lot to him. And like I said before, I truly wish we had our entire support there to embrace him and wrap our arms figuratively around him in that moment.
I could not agree more. Could not agree more. Jack definitely gets it for me. First goal in, played his fucking heart out. Had the support of his family there in regards to his own personal life. But I do want to make, again, the honorable mention of the fans who were in their seats for the first 9 minutes. Without you guys there, that would have been the most miserable looking goal ever, and especially for him. So my respect goes to those that went down to their seats, who paid to be there, and you chose not to sit in those seats. Completely devoiding your whole entire cause, because what you still did was you put money in the pockets of the people whom you were trying to protest. So it was worthless.
They got their money, so they don't care.
You got your money, dude. That's like if you ever watched Straight Outta Compton, right? And you see all those people who are taking a steamroller over top of all of their vinyls and their CDs or their tapes and stuff.
Yep.
And Easy goes, "Fuck
I don't
it.
care.
They paid for it."
Yep. Exactly. That's a perfect analogy, Colby. Thank you. That was a perfect parallel and exactly right.
It's the same
I don't care.
energy.
I got the money in my pocket. I don't care.
Yeah,
they can do what the fuck they want with it at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead and miss the first 9 minutes of the match. I don't give a fuck. That's like, it really does bug me, because I really feel that there are people out there that have really, really bad derangement when it comes to knowing the intricacies of business. Like, if you didn't go to college and learn about business, or didn't help run a business at some point in your life, you're probably not pretty busy. You're probably not business savvy at all. So I probably wouldn't take any advice from you, because you don't want to go sit out there because you want to protest something. You still paid. I'm not following you.
Protest all you want.
Go ahead.
Whatever. But do it in a smart way. This was not a smart way to do it.
This is the worst way you could possibly do it.
Spot on. Especially, like you said, with Chelsea dropping points today, it opened up an opportunity to move up into fourth and move above Chelsea. And it's not a full-on guarantee that that the fifth spot is going to be a Champions League spot. I think one of the English teams need to do, and across all the European competitions, is get 2 points. So 2 draws or one team winning will solidify it officially. But it would have been nice, considering United was poor today too, to grab
poor in general,
and per usual, exactly, to snag those 3 points. They were there for the taking, and we could have moved up. Especially then, Nottingham dropped points today too, so there was a opportunity missed for sure. So I couldn't agree more. Jumping into the Derby piece, the big day today, we'll do a little quick rundown of the Pep presser the other day. Obviously, the big news that came out later this week after the Leicester match was Kev has officially said his goodbye on IG. A absolutely beautiful message crafted by him and posted. I'm glad that he did it before everybody else and was able to get the message out the way he wanted to on his terms. It still hurts a little bit talking about him leaving. I totally understand from the club's perspective why they need to move forward without Kev. I understand him also wanting to move on to the last saga of his footy career with wherever he decides to go. There's obviously plenty of options available to him. Just depends on what's best for him and his family. We will see what route they take. But Pep said it was a sad day, happy day at the same time because of what Kevin has given to the team, and his influence in our success would be impossible to have happened without him. We have 6 games at home left to give him love and appreciation. So, calling all City locals that are going to the matches, let's put the protesting stuff to bed. Kevin is an all-time great. He's going to get a statue outside of the stadium. Depending on your preference, he's the best player to ever put on a City jersey. Let's show him the proper respect. Let's be in our seats early, and let's hear those fucking "Oh, Kevin De Bruyne" chants.
I want to hear it 17
all the
times
fucking time,
every match for the rest of the season,
constantly.
Whether he's on or not, I want to hear it 17 times per match till the end of the season.
Every
especially
fucking
the
game.
home ones.
Yes, exactly. So let's throw our full support behind an absolute City legend and send him off the best way fucking possible. Please.
You got a mic?
Testing. The floor
1, 2.
is yours, my guy.
Right.
Much of the presser was obviously around Kevin. Pep continued to praise his leadership and his impact beyond the pitch. He's obviously, his legacy is cemented as one of the greatest players ever at City and in the Premier League. I challenge anybody to find a better midfielder than him that has played in the Premier League. People want to talk about the only one that I will even hear somewhat of an argument about, considering everything that has been won, accolades, stats, all those things. The only person that is close to him, in my opinion, is Frank Lampard. He's obviously scored a shitload of goals, a little bit more than Kev, but Kev has obviously got a little bit more assists there. He did a lot for Chelsea, just like Kev has done. I cannot stand when this "who's the best midfielder ever" topic comes up and people have the audacity to put Steven Gerrard's name in this mix. He is just, I don't care that he scored all the stats that he has. They didn't do shit during his career at Liverpool. They didn't win hardly a thing. So no, Steven Gerrard is not in this category. He's no. That's a no. The only person that, in my opinion, comes close is Super Frank. And most people who pick him are typically those wearing a different shade of blue.
Right.
Or people who are just City haters and will want to bang on anybody that is a City player and won't give them the proper due.
Right. I heard Carragher say, now, granted, you've made the comparison between a national player and an international player.
Mm-hmm.
Carragher had made the mention if he was going to say rate the top midfielders in the Premier League that were international players, it'd be Kev and Thierry Henry. I don't really know about that. It wasn't my era.
Right.
But if we're going to put anybody on the Rushmore of Premier League midfielders, Kev has to go up in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if he's the fourth one.
I love that the Rushmore. So you get 4.
You get 4.
I despise anything where people are picking the top one. I prefer tiers or Rushmore where you pick 4 because it's such a subjective argument.
It is.
oftentimes you can make an argument for 2 or 3 guys. And depending on what you prefer, leads to which guy you think is the top. So instead of debating that, just like, hey, Kev, like you said, Kev is on the top 4. He's clearly top 4. Whether he's first on for his image is chiseled on there first or fourth, it doesn't matter.
I agree with you, Steve. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
That right there. And these guys do shit like that, and then have the audacity to like get on TV and spout their own moral shit at other players. It is so annoying.
I don't know where his superiority complex came from, but it's laughable every time I hear him talk. Every single time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the starting 11. I know Kelster was not too pleased with it. I think for the majority of us, we weren't really pleased. But I will say this: Pep saw what worked at the end of the Leicester match and said, well, I'm going to be a little lazy on this one. But considering that United's probably not going to show up, being that they're not really fighting for shit, we're the only ones that are. If we're going to put our best on the pitch, it will surmount their best any day, especially comparing benches.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't worried. He wasn't worried about their bench. They should be worried about our bench. But if that was the case, then why didn't you field more of the bench players? You know what I mean? Where was Nico? I mean, yes, he's fixed problems. But I again, this is where I see Pep playing into the bias and not realizing what he really has. And the more that you put somebody out there, the more minutes you give them, the better they're going to get because you're putting them into a situation. So what this whole game is one giant fucking 90-minute situation. I don't know why. I can't call it. Maybe short time between matches. He wanted to switch some things up. But, I mean, that doesn't really say a whole hell of a lot because swap there's Kova. Gunda was already in last match. Why was Kev a false 9? It was his last derby. That's my first thought on that one. And he doesn't have the legs on it, but he certainly has the eye.
Yeah, the tactics today, along with some of the selections,
yeah, they're very questionable.
I think everybody. We also again, there's a was it a progressive commercial where they have like the counselor who's like talking to people who are becoming their adult, like their parents or something, and there's a commercial where they're like the guy's talking about something like a something random, and the guy's like, we all saw it. We all saw what happened today. We all know it didn't work. However, I get, like Colby's been, I get why he did some of the things he did. It didn't work, which is fine. I just wish we would have made changes a little bit sooner, when it was clearly in the first half not working. We kind of wasted Marmouche out wide, I felt like, in this particular setup. They were at least on the American side, the commentators once again brought up their favorite topic, even without Holland on the pitch, was the number of touches the strikers got. They said the top 2 people that hadn't had the least amount of touches was Rasmus Højlund and Marmouche. And they were talking about Marmouche like he was actually playing fucking striker. Were you watching the match?
No, they weren't.
He wasn't playing striker. He was playing wing the entire time. What are you talking about? So it was like, just shows like they don't pay attention or take the time to actually like think about what they're fucking saying. They just, whatever thought comes in their head, it just word vomits out because it doesn't make any sense. But Marmouche out wide was being wasted. We couldn't really connect and get Kevin the ball as a false 9 the way we had envisioned, where he would pick it up and then have runners past him. We didn't have the legs out wide to provide him options once he did find the ball. But guess what? The other, as shit as Manchester United are, their players aren't necessarily dumb. They know how to play the game, and they know when they saw Kevin early in the match lining up in the middle of the pitch, they kind of knew where he was going to be, and they had a double with that setup with 3 in the back and then 2 holding mids. That's a lot of people in the middle for Kev to deal with. So they were clearly trying to take away what we were obviously trying to do. The idea between that false 9 is to let him pick the ball up, play into him, let him pick passes off of that. But we weren't making runs, and we're very compact in the middle. They had lots of guys in there. And then more of our guys continued coming into the middle. Like Bernie was drifting in. Marmouche was drifting in instead of providing width. Phil on the other wing drifting in. So instead of providing width and options for Kev or whoever else had the ball in the middle, it was amoeba ball, like you said, with the younger
Kids.
with the kids at times. It was just like we're all in there.
We just crowd around the ball.
Oh, it's like Jesus, like, and right off the bat, they got in behind. Credit to Nunez. He got far too high early in the match, too little too aggressive, and they played it in ball in perfectly right in behind him. After that, though, I don't think he put his foot wrong for the most part of the game. Nunez corrected himself and played much better the rest of the match, but that was dangerously close to being a PK like within the first minute and 30 seconds. And Ruben, not his fault. Like he's trying to chase back and their feet just kind of got tangled up. He wasn't trying to bring him down. So it's like,
it was very incidental.
Yeah.
Very incidental.
Fine a foul. Fine if you want to call it a yellow card. I understand. And thankfully they were smart and saw that the contact began outside of the box, which is where the free kick was taken. And in that situation, it is so hard to score a free kick from that spot because there's not enough distance to get the ball up and down over the wall. Even if, they set up, like, try to give him a shooting window between our 2 walls. But Fernandez missed that spot completely. And I never really felt like we were in danger of letting a goal in from that spot. So the foul actually worked out to our benefit. So that was fine. Ruben, good job.
My first question after Rube getting a yellow card was, is Kev going to give him the armband now? Or should we just expect him to be subbed off now that he's on a yellow, at least by like the 70th minute?
Right. Who would
Luckily,
it go to?
Kev wore the armband the whole match, so
he played the full. He went the distance.
He went the distance. And this goes back to the point of being sentimental, because there was a comment from Kelkster. Pep gambled with KDB today and didn't deliver, sadly. Yeah, he didn't. But there has to be a heart somewhere inside you, because you have to understand that this was his last derby. Him not getting these minutes, at least the whole run like he did today, I feel would have soured the last matches that he has with us, because we understand just how important that match was. Did he deliver? No, he didn't. But we also didn't concede. We also didn't lose. I'm okay. I was okay with him getting 94 minutes. I wanted to do that. And not from a I know he's going to do something point, but like, this is sentimental. Like, this is massive. This means a lot to a lot of people. And him getting the minutes after all he's done with this club, especially against this club, I want to see him in there for the full 90. I don't care if he doesn't start against Crystal Palace. I don't care if he sees minutes against Crystal Palace or the remaining ones. I'm sure that he will, especially in the last 6 matches being at home. He's going to get a lot of standing ovations, especially that last one. I want to see him get as much as he possibly can with us. I just want him to be the leader that he has been. You know what I mean? I want to be able to clap him off at the end of this season proper, because he deserves it.
Did Kev deliver today? No. Did anybody else on the pitch deliver today? Substitutes included? Absolutely not.
No.
It was a collective not showing up or not delivering. I won't say show up, because they
all showed up. They just didn't deliver.
It wasn't they just didn't have it in them today. And it's across the board. Like I said, it's not just Kev. It was the group, coaching staff included. The changes didn't quite work. The starting 11 didn't quite work. It's one of those things where it didn't turn out for us. And Obviously, you don't go into a match making us, picking a group saying, you know what, I think this is going to get us a 0-0 draw today. That's not in our mentality. Other clubs might do that, but it wasn't. That's not what Pep does. He's not picking people with the idea of, you know what, this is going to draw us the match. He's making people he thinks are going to win, and they just didn't do that today. And we didn't lose. We didn't drop 3. We got a point, and United were ass. They had a couple of chances, but they were not great either. So collectively, all performers out on the pitch today, not good.
Shout out, Dad.
Gasolina, yes, sir.
So yeah, I mean, first 10 minutes, just a lot of back and forth. Phil got absolutely whacked by Casemiro.
Dude,
absolutely whacked.
So many cards that should have been pulled out that were not. For challenges.
Yeah. I will say, though, for Phil in that specific instance, the fact that he continued play on his back.
And he tried to reach out and kick the ball. Yeah, dude.
Kicking it forward. That was clutch. Absolutely loved the resilience that he showed in that moment. And just I know that I just got knocked to the ground, but I'm not going to stop play. Keep going. Mm-hmm. Here you go. That was dope. I like that. And then
O'Reilly had a beautiful ball into Marmoush.
He did. Just a touch behind, though, on the pace of the defender. Yep. He would have been a leg in front of him. That could have been a nice little tap-in slap goal. Mm-hmm. Is what it is. On the whole first half was rather boring.
There wasn't a lot happening.
For Derby, I think because we have such high expectations of these games, typically because they have consequences that are attached to them, outside of whether that's for league or for Champions League or whatever it may be. It was only one-sided, and it was only really us that was looking to essentially secure the 5th spot. Just a boring first half, and then
their attention is clearly on Thursday for the Europa League, because if they are able to somehow pull it out and win that will secure them Champions League spot, even though they're going to finish in the bottom third of the table. So their attention is there. And in the comments, I need you guys to stop saying servicing people, because my mind is going in inappropriate places. So when Kelkster's over here saying
it's him, of course.
Well, no, it was not just him. Kelkster said something about midfield's not capable of servicing the strikers. I can't, because my mind is going into different places. So y'all got to
get your fucking head out of the got a little bit.
It's our show, okay? In the second half, I feel like it was a lot of the same. I think Onana had one diving punch that looked more spectacular than it really was. I think he had that covered very well on a free kick from Marmoush. And then Eddie had a diving save where he palmed the ball away, but he had it fairly covered. And other than that, there really wasn't any clear cut chances from either side where they were really threatening the keeper. They got in behind us a few times. Thanks, Steve. So it was they might have created a few more chances than us, but none of them, I think, were really in danger of sneaking away with the 3 points and scoring. I really liked to see Bernie and his chippiness once again. There was a couple of times where he was getting into it, and then when Ugarte from United decided it was going to be a good idea to come over and chest bump Ruben Diaz, who's by all accounts not the one that you want to mess with on our squad. Ruben, I love that Ruben just kind of didn't even acknowledge it, because he was like, "I will fuck you up if I need to."
He's like,
but I'm just gonna walk away. And then here comes little Bernie, little dad coming in, and just this little shove.
It's the weakest push ever, too.
Bernie, he's such a little nuisance. He's always putting himself in those inserting himself into these little dust ups. minor little things, and he's always one that's just like trying to instigate shit. So I'm like, I at least appreciated a little bit of that chippiness there, but
I did too, but I mean,
it was
it was kind of getting a little too.
that's
too
that's how
late.
bad the game was. That was a highlight for me, was seeing Bernie being a little chippy. That's what most of, like, laughter I got out of this damn game
True.
was that. So I'm like, that shows you how poor the footy was from both sides.
Mm.
And for me, kind of some overall thoughts. I felt like with the selection that he made and with positions he was putting folks in, we didn't really have any defined positions in the attack. So if United were actually a quality side, they could have punished us out wide a little bit more, because what we talked about, Marmouche is tucking in more, Phil's tucking in more, Bernie's kind of roaming everywhere. That left O'Reilly and Mateus Nunes on islands going against 2 and sometimes 3 people by themselves, because there wasn't any defined shape where Bernie was like, you know what, I'm the outside winger, I'm always responsible for getting back. They were all kind of given some license to roam a little bit. So nobody really knew whose job it was at times to track back and help defensively. So had United been a little bit better, could have been in trouble, but glad it wasn't the case. And for the first time, Nico O'Reilly looked a little bit out of sorts at times, where
Definitely did
he
look comfortable.
was out of position, caught forward far too much at times, and wasn't like sprinting to get back into his defensive spot. So it felt like he drifted more into like, I'm a midfielder mentality, instead of like, I'm a left back who occasionally gets to roam forward and get it into, which is fine, because again, he's not a left back. He's playing there because he performed very well the last few games and deserves time on the pitch. So
I'm so glad you caught on.
that was intentional and a choice made by Colby. So
Yes.
house captain celebrated a throw in. See, that's how bad today was, when we're celebrating shit like that. So yeah,
Well,
not how we wanted to spend 2 hours, but
not really.
we got to watch our boys play, and that's about the extent of it. We don't get too many opportunities to watch them play left for this season. So
take it in while you can.
And we got to watch Kev, at least, for another match against his final match against
United.
The Rags.
United.
So,
Joe, man of the match on this one, bro.
My first thought at the end of it, end of the game, that was a talking point in our house, was like, nobody really deserves man of the match on this one. So, in a 0-0 draw where nobody really stood out or did anything crazy, it's hard to pick somebody. If I was to give somebody it, I mentioned him a few times, I felt like Nunes was one of our better players who was willing and able to run consistently forward. He was given his best effort the entire time. He played much better defense than he has recently. He was very good 1v1. He didn't, concede any crazy chances, and he looked to progress the ball. One of the few guys that when he picked it up, he was looking to either take someone on and dribble past them or play a forward pass. So too often today, guys were picking the ball up, turning, and just passing it to somebody else because they didn't really want the ball. Mateus wanted the ball today, and in a crap game, if you want the ball and run hard, I guess it would go your way. I thought Eddie played very well when he was called into duty. He was very calm and composed with his distribution, and the few times that he was called into action, he was very assured with his hands. So I would, if forced to pick somebody, I would do Nunes first with Eddie close behind.
I'm just going to be my sentimental self and say Kev, because he played 94 fucking minutes at his old fucking age. And though he did not look like Kev of old and he did not produce anything for us, I still have to give it to him because this is the last Derby. He was the first player that I ever attached myself to in terms of the club. And being that, like we said, nobody really had that much of a day, it just felt like the easy pick. Eddie definitely had a great game. He definitely punched one out that I think all of our buttholes puckered up a little bit.
Get a little tense.
Nunes has looked a lot better. I will give him that. There was a couple of times that I went, God damn it, Nunes. But I think for the most of us, we've gotten accustomed to doing that as well. He's progressing in the role. You can see that he clearly wants to be more of an attacking presence. Um, you know, I think he's starting to come to the realization that he needs to spend the rest of the season focused on defending, being our last line of defense, and taking up as much as he can and learning about that role. People have shat on him all season, and it was really annoying to listen to because he's been the most utilized player in our squad the whole season. So to shit on him and to make him, especially early on when he started getting more minutes, to make him the scapegoat for every fucking thing that ever went wrong at those points in times, baseless at points. And it felt just, let's pick on the new guy. No. He's solidifying a spot with us going into the next season. I think there's going to be a lot more room for him to be utilized if he does stay on. Obviously, we don't know what Hugo Viana and Pep have in store for what this next season is going to look like in terms of what our roster will be. But I have to give credit where credit's due and make sure that people realize, like, he is a solid player. You can call him a bench player all you fucking want. I think it's just that's a really stupid slag that people use, and I don't really care for it, especially in a situation like him, where he's proved himself time and time again that he can be more than just a midfielder.
Yeah, Steve kind of made a comment when you were talking about, Pep and Hugo's plan for what the squad's going to look like going forward. I wonder the same thing. Steve had mentioned this a little earlier in the show too, about how some of the guys might feel like their time is up kind of deal. And I've already, headspace wise, are still obviously engaged in the game and wanting to keep us in Champions League spots. But as a human being, it's natural to, like, if you kind of know or have an inkling like you're on the way out, that's going to change how you play a little bit, how you carry yourself, those kind of things. So I think Steve is, again, I don't think that's fair to wonder at this point, especially going for these last 7 matches we have left in the Premier League and with the FA Cup. Guys got to show it in practice, and the guys who are performing the best at practice, who want it and are showing that, deserve to be the ones in the starting 11 getting the most of the minutes. So we'll see how we respond. In the past, anytime there's been adversity and knowing we have to win a certain amount of matches to secure a title, secure a spot, whatever it might be, they've always risen to the occasion. So we got 7 more Premier League matches to see if we can do that again. I hope we do it. Really do.
For sure. This is actually going to, that little part there at the end is going to help roll us right into City news. So we were talking a little bit about our youngsters, and I see Kelkster's banging on about them as well right now. There has been the loose use of the term rebuild over the last 2 seasons. I personally don't really care for the terminology, because to the American mind, most American minds at least, a rebuild means a total overhaul of the team. And I was apprehensive about that going into this season. I was just like, I don't really think that there is merit to just swapping everybody out, because there are people who are in this system that know this system, that can teach this system, where Pep can't teach the system, his system. So to just what's the word, blindly want to cast everybody out and switch old with new. That just doesn't work. It just doesn't work on any team. You need a veteran presence. Yes, of course we'll have somebody like Ruben Diaz. He's been a hell of a captain. I will champion him to be the captain going forward until he is no longer wearing our color. And there's a couple of others, but there's a very defined line now at this point where we know who needs to go. We know Kev is on his way out now. He was already on the talking points of that. Gundo was surely a part of that. I don't know how much that's going to bear weight going into next season, considering his contract. Not only that, he is one of Pep's favorites. He is somebody who can teach. There has already been, prior to him going to Barcelona, he had spent time with the EDS coaching. So there is a place for him beyond the pitch as a player. And I think he's almost necessary. He could be the next Scott Carson. That's somebody who needs to go. Love Scotty, but he's got to go. He's just holding up the bench and collecting a paycheck. As far as the rest of the players go, with all the influx, seeing the refreshed squad against Leicester gave me hope to be able to kind of backtrack a little bit on the whole rebuild thing. Again, the word still kind of has weird connotation to it for me. I would rather say retool or reload.
All those are better than rebuild.
You don't just overhaul a whole team with zero chemistry. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. Little by little, you do it. This is going to be a probably 2-year project as it is. Starting now. Starting from the winter transfer. It's going to be a 2-year project. And I'm cool with that. All rapid change does not create rapid success. If anything, it would help foster in rapid decline quickly. And then there's going to be everybody pointing the fucking finger at Pep, at Viana, at all this. And it's like, no. I think they've got the right mind for all of this. There's a reason why they're in the position they're in. There's a reason why we're all sitting on a fucking computer talking about it, discussing it. We aren't collecting the paycheck and we're not minorities. So it's just like, take it for what it is and how it's going to come. They have the best interest of the club at heart. May not be the way you see it, but that's the way the fucking is.
And they're all smarter than we are.
We are a hell of a lot smarter.
They do this for a living. So, and to kind of piggyback onto the rebuild piece, on the pro sports side in America over here, MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL, whatever you want to pick, when teams rebuild, it's like typically like 2, 3, 4 years before you're competing again, unless like in the NFL you strike gold with a rookie quarterback,
which is now becoming a rare occasion.
Correct. Yeah. So like when people start throwing around a rebuild with Man City, it's like no. We're still one of the best clubs in the entire world. We don't need to rebuild everything. We just need to refresh, retool, whatever you want to call it. We just need to tweak some things, get a little bit younger in a few spots, change of tactics here and there, and we'll be fine. We don't need to completely tear down everything and rebuild. We just need to tweak a few things. And to kind of go along with another piece of this conversation that we had in the notes about Cheeky, he is signed on for an extra month and a half. So he was going to leave in July and be done right in the middle of, the transfer windows. We have 2 of them this year. Remember, we have like first 2 weeks in June, then a break, and then like another one afterwards. Cheeky's going to stay on until September now to help see through the transition to get Hugo fully ingrained and help him out. And having Cheeky and Hugo, who is a great younger, fresh mind, to come in pairing with the experience of Cheeky and Pep, I have no doubt that we're going to come out of this window in a much better spot going forward, and be prepared to be back where we're accustomed to, being at the top of the league, competing deeper into the Champions League, and fighting for multiple trophies. Because those guys, like we said, like I mentioned before, are far smarter than we are. They do this for their their 9 to 5, whatever they do, their paycheck is about this. This is what they do. So those guys are going to get it right. They've shown in the past that they've done it right almost every single time. Obviously, they all have admitted to that they should have refreshed a little bit sooner and not waited until all the injuries and in January to bring in some younger players and to refresh it a little bit. Should have done this in over the summer, but it didn't happen, and now we're going to correct it. And I have faith that those guys are the right people to do it and do it right.
You know what I think? I think people are so used to people not being accountable for shit that when people are accountable and do claim their mistakes, people don't give any grace behind it. And I find that comical because it's really not the direction in which society should be going. You should be commending the club that you support for admitting in a mistake. The fact that we continually bang on the drum and bang on the drum and bang on the drum, like, who does that satisfy? Other than yourself. And even at that, you're not done until the following week, and then it's a new gripe. It's silly. It's silly to me.
Yeah.
Getting mad about things that are out of our control. Like, remember that we pay for the shirts, right? Especially us over here. We don't get tickets all the time. So, yeah. The oppressed mind is a funny one. Because we're not oppressed, especially in this game. We're one of the best. We're one of the best coaches. We have one of the best front offices. We have some of the coolest colors, too. I mean, fuck. Carolina blue, city blue, whatever you want to call it. People are mad that they don't have powder blue, okay?
They're jealous because our blue's better than their blue.
Yeah.
And they got to wear fugly red.
Or a combination of red and blue. Or black and red. Or black and white. Like, poor Norwich, green and yellow. Two of the worst team colors put together you'd possibly... It's like next to Christmas colors.
And it's not a good green either.
It could be a forest green, but
there's
it's like
so many good greens, and they picked that green.
Like, it's regular ass green. It's a regular ass
basic
yellow.
palette green that exactly, like the yellow and green that come in like when you look at the 6 like colors. It's that.
Like, look at Green Bay's color scheme. The dark green with the bright yellow.
It can work when done properly.
It works. And honestly, like, when I think of the Green Bay Packers, I think fear. When I think of Norwich, the little birdie don't scare me. What are they on about in here?
Steve's talking about food randomly. Cheese and onion crisps.
Oh, listen, man. Hey, whoever can send me over some of them Monster Munches, them pickled onion ones, I'll be happy. I'll be a happy man. I'll be a happy man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that kind of
good debate in the comments. I like the way Steve and House Captain and Kelkster were all talking to each other and talking about what we were talking about with one another. And folks weren't necessarily agreeing with one another, but it was respectful, and I appreciate that about y'all. So well done.
Respectable. Yeah. Having debates is good in today's society. We need more of it. Give us your P.O. box.
I read that as P.O. box instead of P.O. box, and then I was like, oh wait.
he thought of a shrimp sub real quick.
That's exactly where my mind went. I was thinking, ooh, a shrimp po' boy sounds real nice right now.
Yes, yeah. Like so I've seen that this is a flavor over there many, many times, and I am curious just because I'm a foodie, and I mean, look at me, for Christ's sake. I think this will be an excellent grab. His po' box. You got double whammy. And House Captain and Steve smashed you on it.
It's a little early in the evening for that kind of behavior, Steve. That comes like after 9, 10 o'clock our time.
I know what shrimp cocktail is. I know that it's prawn and shrimp are the same thing. I hope I hope that wasn't like you tried to teach me something or us something.
I don't think it was.
I hope not. Top level
Before
what?
before we hop to break and then dive into our other big topic for the evening, let's do a quick rundown of who we have left. It's okay. It's 11:11 here. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, man.
Always.
Remaining Premier League matches. We have Crystal Palace, Everton, Villa, who is somehow pulled themselves back into contention for top 6, top 5 situation. Wolves, Southampton, both towards the bottom of the table, Bournemouth, and then we wrap it up against Fulham. I want to say like Chelsea and Newcastle, some of the other teams that are fighting for that last few spots in the top 5 kind of play each other. So there's going to be points being dropped by others. We don't really play anybody else that's right around us for the most part. So that, I think, gives us a pretty good leg up going forward. So we will see what happens, but I think all very winnable.
Sure, they're all winnable, but we also have to have the gumption to win.
That.
We are playing for spot number 5, which that don't sound good, guys.
That's humbling right there in itself.
Super humbling, but the fact that we're even able to play in for this competition next season is a godsend, considering how well the league has been doing within the competition. So I'm good for this.
It's not like we're in 13th place,
right? I'm really not really concerned about Gay. As much as people like to give him his roses, he's decent at best. They have another defender whom I'm a little bit more worried about. He actually came up through the Bundesliga and played with Wolfsburg whenever I was first starting to watch the game, Maximilian Leclerc, and he's kind of scary. He's a Rudiger type, but he's a little bit taller and a little bit more physical. So I keep your eyes on him, especially with Gay being suspended. Yeah. So I don't have a break video for this one, guys.
So they're stuck with us a little bit longer. No break for you all.
No break for you all, but unfortunately, this episode comes with not great news. Suffice it to say, guys, it is a taxing gig doing this. We put a lot of our hard-earned money and resources into this project. We do not take anything from the project, even with T-shirt sales. It has all been wrapped right back around into making this go. It's come to a point where we recognize a lot of things. We've dealt with a lot of things. And we're very close to the point of not enjoying the game. And that sucks, because what this endeavor was initially for was to connect with people such as yourself, but also people within the content creating community for City. Excuse me. It's come with a lot more bumpy roads than smooth roads and connections. And we kind of want to discuss that with you guys, because there's been a few things that have directly contributed to us making this decision. But at the end of the day, I feel it's on us to let you guys know in full transparency what's happening and why. So before we get too far into this, this is it, guys. This is it for us. We're done. This is the last episode. This is the funeral. We appreciate every single one of you for being here and giving us your support. It doesn't come easy. This doesn't come easy at all. It honestly hurts. But for the betterment of our minds and our schedules and just everything that we've endured, we feel that it's best that we vacate the scene. So with that, we're going to give you a little bit of insight.
Yeah, unfortunately, Steve, not a joke. This is not something that we came to easily. But and like Colby said, it's not just one thing that's kind of led us down this road. It's been a collection of incidents that have just continued to pile up and build up and build up, and got us to the point where we had to have a heart to heart with each other and say, do you still enjoy doing this? And the answer was, I enjoy spending time with you.
Yeah,
I enjoy the time with Colby and spending our Sunday evenings together, just us being dudes. But like, dude, how dope would
that reaction was going to come at some point.
How dope would that have been?
Right.
But it because of interactions with others in the community that we will be talking about shortly, on top of just life in general. Both of us have kids who are getting older and
Involved in the game heavily.
requiring a whole lot of more of our time, attention. It's just it's like I said, it was a collection of things that all kind of happened, and this just seemed like the right time to stop and to let you all know more of the reasons why. So some of the reasons we kind of just mentioned was family oriented, like Colby mentioned, all three children below us, my two and Colby's son, getting deeper into club soccer over in America, and it was requiring a significantly larger amount of our time, financial commitment, all of those things. So that's playing a part of it. It's harder to do this the way we want to do it, and not just hop on here and just bullshit. We go through, plan out notes, talk through what we're going to discuss. It takes Colby a significant amount of time to make this look as wonderful as it does. Not tooting our own horn, but our shit looks better than everybody else's out there, and that's 100% attributed to Colby's creative mind. Nobody else's scenes look like this. Nobody else's graphics look as cool as ours. Nobody else's music is as dope as ours. And that's all him. Okay. So it takes a lot of time to do all of these things. And we're not going to do this if we're not fully in and spending the time to make it look the way we want it to look like. We're not just going to half-ass things just to continue doing it. If we're going to do it, we want it to be as dope as we'd like it to be. And
yep, and that's in part of it, guys. I mean,
it's one of the reasons. One of
the reasons, yes. And I do take a lot of pride and
as you should,
this together. For somebody whom really had next to nothing going for him, this was my everything. I put a lot of time, like I said, a lot of effort, a lot of money into trying to separate ourselves from everybody while still trying to be incorporating, if you will. And unfortunately, that's just not been reciprocal, and that takes a toll after a while. As well, we'll just get into the meat of this as it has piled up on us. So, first order of everything, we have dealt with a lot of blind prejudice towards American supporters who speak on the game, let alone the club. Obviously, it's not you guys. I want you guys, everybody that's in here right now, I want you guys to know this has nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. You guys have been supportive of us since the minute you found us. You have stayed loyal and true to us. And, more than anything, you have become our friends, not just other supporters whom decide to show up in our chat. I think that a lot of people will misconstrue it that way, and I want to make sure that people are fully aware of the fact that the people in here have been every reason why we've decided to stay on as long as we have over the second half of the season. But to get into the points of this, there's a lot of holier than thou content creators within our community. They lack a tremendous amount of accountability in their actions and their words and the way that they do things in a business sense. I believe some of you guys know what happened with the 1894 guy. I don't know what his name is, that broccoli haired looking fuck. He wore a shirt, the bullshit shirt that we created on Big Steve and MCFC DAP show. We are the South Stand. I called it out. They didn't receive that well. And this is, I'm going to play you what Big Steve said to us.
Can you hold on that for just a second to get just a little bit more clarity?
Yeah. Sorry. You do get to talk too. It's not just me.
No. You're okay. This is to support your, just for clarity. The 1894 group had previously posted said shirt like several months back on their Instagram or social medias as a design. And we reached out to them, Colby specifically, and was like, yo, we've been advertising that exact shirt, like literally the exact fucking shirt, same concept and everything. And they were like, oh, well, we didn't know. We obviously are not paying attention to we didn't know it was there. And some guy who made it sent it to us and we were just trying to advertise it. We'll take it down. We won't advertise it anymore.
Right.
And all that. We talked to them and we're like, we'll send you our version of it. You can use it just because we want to be however you want. Just give us, the credit that, hey, we got this from the Snobby Boys. That literally we don't want any financial gain from this, nothing like that. We were just like, hey, just wanted to show love,
something to the community, something that was original, and that was out of my mind.
And this was several months back, and then he jumps on the show with Steve and Daps and is wearing the same fucking shirt that they said they were going to take down, and with no acknowledgement that the original design, which goes back, we have receipts, goes back, and Colby put in the comments like, hey, nice shirt, dude, like that was our shit kind of thing. And he was told this is not needed. After we've had both of them on the show, our show had a little bit of a relationship built, Thought we did anyway, and pretty much said they didn't know anything about what was going on before, but like the colors were shown and we received some messages that we would like
let me preface this message to when, and you brought it up, the fact that we had Steve on. Leading up to that episode where we had Steve on over the summer, I had given him 3 different designs that I wanted to put out. I asked him for his input because I respect his input. I respected him as a content creator in this community. And what better than to have somebody whom you respect and admire to nod on one of your designs, right? Well, he chose the bullshit design. He said that's the best one. That I love that. I was like, great. How about this? Since you picked it, I'll put in everything together and I'll send you one. I'll send you one for free. No big deal. I don't care. On me. Just because I appreciate you so much. So I went through a whole rigmarole thing with that of trying to send him the shirt, told me he didn't get it twice, sent him a gift card, didn't order it. And then when I questioned him about it, he acted all laissez-faire about it. Like I didn't know. He said I didn't know how to use it. Okay, but you know how to run a podcast. That's cute. So the disrespect started there. So when I called him out, I got a bunch of different hate messages, and I really don't care. But the one that came back that I'm having a real problem with still after the fact is the one from Steve, and I'm going to let you guys in on it right here.
Poor guy, I don't know him like that. He came on my podcast wearing that T-shirt.
You don't know him like that. I find it very hard to believe.
You don't know the 1894 guy like that?
Yeah, I find that hard to believe, being that you go to the same stadium every fucking weekend. So there's that.
And that T-shirt, I've seen that design before. I thought they just bought it off your...
Oh, you thought they bought it off our web shop, but we sent you the actual copy, which is in your messages, and you didn't think, oh, those look a little bit off?
Your web shop. How the fuck do I know where someone got a T-shirt from? And secondly,
because I shared the design and you chose the design or helped choose the design. That's how.
I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about your podcast. I don't give a fuck about a t-shirt, mate. I've got better things to do in my life. There's a reason why your podcast...
If you have such better things to do with your life, then why are you responding knowing that you're caught in something?
And
Podcasters...
Shit, I just lost my train of thought. It was a good one, too.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
Sorry. Maybe it'll you recap.
Podcast has got 320 subs, mate, because it's shit, yeah? And you're a weird American with a chip on your shoulder.
I'm a weird American with a chip on my shoulder. Okay.
Everyone's been nice and come on your podcast, right? For 2 and 3 hours.
That sounds like you have a problem with that. And if you had a problem with that, then you probably should have said something prior to coming on that you only want to give 45 minutes of your time. You have that right as a content creator, no matter whom you're with. So to make that a point, it's stupid.
And
There's
the
three
people
of us
he's
talking. It's going to take more than 45 minutes, what you're used to doing, to have a conversation.
and the others that he's referencing that came on to our show that were just being nice to us. Every episode, we gave them outs to be like, hey, whenever time you want to get off, just let us know. Like, and every one of them said, we're enjoying the conversation. Let's just keep rolling.
Exactly.
So we weren't holding anybody hostage for 2 or 3 hours.
No.
All of y'all, when you were on with us at the time, enjoyed the conversation with us. We were more than willing to let anybody leave when they were ready to. On episodes, you can go back and look at them. We said, hey, we don't want to hold you up for too much longer. Whenever you want to get off is cool. Like some phrase of that was said on every episode with anybody who was on with us for more than an hour and a half that we usually go 2 hours.
Yep.
It's all there for anybody to listen to. Nobody was holding y'all hostage.
Nobody.
3 hours and just fucking tried to help you out. But you've got this weird agenda against people thinking everyone's against America.
Well, my experience is I've received a lot of hate from people across the pond because we're American. So me telling you my experience is somehow negated by your perspective. Make that make sense.
Americans. Nobody gives a fuck about Americans, mate. Just get on with supporting the football club. If you're one of us and you support the team, then fine.
Fair point, but we do that anyway. So again, another useless comment.
Before we
if
even
you've
did
got a problem
podcast,
over a t-shirt, speak to him. It is
we did
Another baseless
multiple
comment.
times.
Another baseless comment.
absolutely fuck all to do with me. I've got no idea what the fuck you were talking about. It's weird as fuck, and it just makes me laugh, mate. Go and speak to that guy if he's copied your t-shirt, because I have not got a fucking clue what you are going on about.
Okay.
So keep away from me with your weird fucking bullshit, yeah? And crack on with your own shit, mate. Because I don't care. I'm not interested in it. You've got a fucking weird fetish about being accepted. You'll never step...
Hold on, I'm gonna back up just a little bit.
It's just
What? What?
You'll never step foot in the Etihad ever. No one's ever going to see you. That's why you got 320 subs. Do you know what I mean? So don't go on about people pissing up your back because you're just a gobshite who sits in your fucking bedroom.
By the way, everybody, this is my living room, and it's a corner of it, and I created it just for this podcast. My bedroom is back there, right? It was really funny. It was really funny about this cadence of insults that he produced to us. He's used this before on somebody else, so I'm just pointing it out because I find it hilarious that he doesn't have anything more original to say to somebody because he's caught in the wrong.
Playing this weird American hard nut card. No one gives a fuck because if you come to the Etihad, you get your face smashed off.
That sounds like a fucking threat to me. And over here in America, making a threat like that is easily an offense and can be jailable. And at which point I have the right to defend myself. Because you're telling me that I'm going to come over there and get my head smashed off? Especially with what's going on over there, with people saying shit over the internet. How easy this would be for me to turn into the club.
Smashed off. Simple as that. Because you're a gobshite.
I'm a gobshite.
So go and speak.
I'm a gobshite.
It was never about a t-shirt.
It was never about a t-shirt.
It was never about any of that. It was 1000% about the disrespect.
Utter disrespect.
And that is worth talking about.
I'm holier than you. I have more numbers than you, so I matter more. Well, guess what, pal? You fucked with the wrong people. I don't care if we got 300 subs.
I don't care.
This will get out.
We don't care. This. We do not care how many subs we have. We've made that very clear from the very beginning of all of our shit. We're not in this to become the biggest American Man City podcast and to have 1,000, 2,000, 500,000 subs. Don't give a shit about that.
We wanted to create a community, be a part of the community, create friendships. I don't care about being the big thing. Noisy Neighbor's already done it in America. Shades of Blue behind them.
Not important to us. So throwing that in our face isn't an insult, man. Like, I don't really care how many subs we have compared to what you guys have. We're not. This is not a pissing contest where we're trying to compare. It's not for us. Yeah, because.
So now you guys kind of know who the real Big Steve is. Aside from this going up and taking pictures with kids at games and this, that, and the other, he don't care about anybody but a motherfucking self. And that kind of goes with anybody that's kind of associated with him, to be honest. There is no love for the next person. It is a race amongst everybody. And it's pathetic. When people just come here to be friends and they do nice things to say that they appreciate you, and then you want to shit all over them, you're not. It doesn't make you a good person. It just doesn't at all.
Steve, we appreciate the empathy, but you don't have anything to apologize.
You have zero to apologize. Every single one of you in here have zero to apologize for.
Again, this is not about y'all. This is not about the majority of folks that we've interacted with. This is about a few of them that have treated us a certain kind of way. And before all of this, again, this happened. You know, this didn't happen like 2 days ago. This is something we've been keeping to ourselves because we didn't feel the need to go this route. But with the ending of our show, felt like it's important for folks to hear everything. See, you've heard from us. You've clearly heard what he had to say. And you guys can take that information and make your own assessments. We're not telling you one way to think about this kind of stuff, but at least you know what we've been dealing with behind the scenes.
Yeah. And it's the same rhetoric. It's the oh, we don't care about Americans. We like Americans. We have friends with Americans. That's no different than a white person saying I have black friends. I'm sorry.
And you say that, and then you turn around and bang on you for being a weird American. I'm saying that with air quotes for those who will be listening.
Is weird a way of saying I lack perspective and I don't know anything and I wasn't curious enough to talk to you guys and understand your perspective rather than just make a baseless judgment off of what? Do you see how stupid it is? This is the thinking that we have in today's society. It's just a write-off. It's just this is what I think and this is what it is without any research. There was a quote in Ted Lasso from Walt Whitman that I have put up many, many times. Be curious, not judgmental. So if you were curious, you would have asked questions, but you didn't. Remember that in life, everybody. Instead of judging things before you know what they are, question them first.
And again, on record, on shows, we have maintained that the goal of all of this was never to gain the most followers, to get the most subs, any of that. It was to form a community of like-minded folks to talk about the game and the club that we love, and to get to spend time with my boy right here and talk about shit that we love, and encourage others to join in with us and to come in and talk like you guys have been. We've last 6 months or so, comments have been consistent all episode was. But when we first started, no comments. It was just us talking to each other, and occasional comment will pop in. You guys have made this so much more fun with your interactions and everything, and that was the whole goal of this. It was never to monetize it. It was never to make it humongous, and it goes on far back on record on our shows that we just wanted to build and become a part of the city content creator community, whether it's across the pond or with the folks in America too. And again, similar, not the same situation, but similarly, people showed their ass and their behavior also on our side with people we thought were cool, not. So
And unfortunately, with this situation, it's soured a lot of other relationships because of their connections to said person, and the fact that they are more worried about standing with the status quo than actually standing up for what's right and true.
Yeah, people we've had on more than once, not just a one-off show as a special, I guess, charity case that they did for us. There's some folks came on more than once, and now it's not. There's really no relationship there at that point because of everything that went down and their, I guess, allegiance, if you will, to the creators on their side of the pond that they knew before us, I guess. But I guess that's what matters more than the actual truth, like Colby mentioned. And that's sad because we thought that people were generally engaging with us and genuinely real people that wanted to engage with us and form relationships, which is what we were trying to do. That's all we were trying to do.
Yep.
And be respected at the same time. That's the thing. Like, we want to build relationships with those folks, but as soon as you started like acting brand new, if you will, and started treating us a certain kind of way, we're not the ones to be just take blind disrespect like that and not say anything and just roll with the status quo.
Yeah. And because of all of that, well, not because of all of that, but in all of that, with those whom we've had on our show, there has been a serious lack of reciprocity or reciprocal efforts from nearly every podcast that we worked on. Anytime that we have ever stopped promoting them is because they either stopped doing it for us or never reciprocated at all. And that goes right into the fact that there is poor business communication and etiquette from others within the community. And I feel I have grounds to stand on that because I've been around and in the entertainment industry for most of my adult life, which is why I felt so comfortable doing this. So I have some ground to stand on. I'm not going to sit here and name out a bunch of names and try to flex my muscles, but I have seen contract negotiations between artists happen, and I can tell you that they are they especially with the demographic of people I was in, you would think they would be really shady people. I have dealt with more shadier people within this community than I have in a music industry,
which has some of, like you said, you would think have some shadiness going on behind, but like you said, it's been totally different vibe. Unfortunately, it's people said we'll have you on, we'd love to have you on, blah blah blah. It was all lip service, and there was really no action. And then other piece that Colby mentioned was like the support side and sharing each other's shit. Like we tell you all, share our stuff. We would do that with other shows regularly, retweeting their stuff, sharing it out, posting it on our stories, telling other people in other shows' comments to go check these people out. We would do that on a very regular basis. Both Colby and I would do that on our own time and try to bump up other people, because it's like I said, it was never a competition between us and other US city content creators or people over trying to come up on the English side. It was, let's all grow together.
Yeah.
Some people said they were about that, but in actuality, they just wanted other people to share their own shit, and they didn't want to do any work to help other people out.
What goes around comes around, right? Yeah. There's that saying. And I think that it will happen, but all of our efforts were not in vain, I don't believe. I think this will speak volumes to what's going on around the community. I know that we're a small podcast, but I know there's a few people in here that are continuously within all of the other podcasts. And I'm not saying that I think they're going to go off and say, fuck you guys, blah, 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 and rant rave on about us. I don't expect that. I don't want that. I don't want to create any more animosity anywhere. All I want in this and of this is transparency with the people whom have spent their time when they could have been doing something else, letting people know what, why, and how. I believe you guys deserve that. I think that's the right thing to do. And again, it's not to make us look bigger or anything like that. It's just, this is what it is. This is the gauntlet that we have been put through. There are other podcasts that get put through the same gauntlet. I'm very happy and appreciative of being able to reach all of you and make you a part of our world and us a part of yours. That means more than anything. We wouldn't be here without you guys.
Steve, this is all the things we're talking about. This is exactly why we're kind of just stopping now, because all of this shit with other content creators, podcasts, whatever, started to seep into our enjoyment of watching our boys in blue play. And neither one of us wanted us sitting in front of the TV with our kids, with our partners, watching to become a chore where we didn't enjoy it anymore and just not, and wanted to be a part of it. So that is exactly why all of these things have kind of built up, and we decided to do what we're doing, stepping away, is because we want to still enjoy our boys in blue, the best club in the land and all the world. So we're not stopping being City fans by any means. This is a part of our past, now, present, and future. City blue it bleeds in our veins at this point, and it will never not at this point. So
deep in our souls, guys. Like, it's just, there's nothing that's going to stop us from supporting this club, glorifying this club, and it is unfortunate that it has to go this way, but I think it's for the best. For us personally, I think that we can get back to a place of really enjoying the game and enjoying the camaraderie amongst ourselves and not being on the stage, if you will. And I want you all to know, even though there are some of you whom are not social media present, but we still want to continue to talk to you guys. We still want to be the community that we built here. So don't ever feel weird or whatever reaching out to us just to talk or just a bullshit city. We've garnered these relationships and we want to keep them going. We don't want to leave you guys behind, but we do want to leave the scene behind and let it run its course. That's not to say that there may not be another day in the future when our lives are a little bit more settled that we get back to this. Fortunate for for noisy guys. They're a little bit further on in their lives. They have the ability to do what they do and produce a good show because there's not a lot of other. I'm not saying they don't have responsibilities. I'm saying they don't have a lot other things to worry about. I mean, Mull's kids, I believe they're
all grown.
They're grown or almost grown to the point where they're off in college and doing their own thing. Joey, I don't know his entire situation, but from what I understand, doesn't have children. So I mean, there's not a lot in his way of continuing to support City via the OSC and through his their podcasts and stuff like that. So I mean, I would rather just allow them to have the US space and those who want to keep going on. But at this point, I'm just waffling.
Yeah, it's on the personal side. We've talked a little bit about the drama behind the scenes, but on a personal side, for me, and I know Colby's in a similar boat, but my oldest is turning 14 this summer. She's getting ready to go into high school, and it's going to be ramping up highly in the whole recruiting aspect of getting her seen. We should, yes, always. But getting her seen, Luke, that touched me right here, reading that comment while Colby was talking just now, by the way. So I really appreciate you saying that, man. Really do. Honestly, truly, really do. And Pat, you've only been here a little bit, but your interactions have been fantastic, man, and really appreciate you. I saw earlier up, I think you had mentioned a comment about how this kind of stuff had happened with the Rags podcast, and we're hoping it wasn't going to seep into our side, but
unfortunately it has.
When you're dealing with people, this kind of shit happens, unfortunately. So, but my oldest has joined pretty much the best team in in Maryland for her age group. So we're going to be doing a lot more traveling with her team to go into national showcase type tournaments and leagues. So to get her where she wants to be, that's going to take up more of my time and financial commitments, because it's not cheap to fly around to different things. And getting her, again, both of my kids have been adamant that they want to play college soccer and play as long as they possibly can. And I feel like it's my responsibility and duty as their father to foster it up and make their dreams come true.
Absolutely.
Sometimes at the expense of things that I would like to do for myself. But
and that's being a good parent. That is, and I have 100% respect for that, because when the girls, when she did split off to Jordan, or Jordan split off to the next club, I was like, well, now the week's full.
Mm-hmm.
But I would so much rather you give your time to your kids and your family and foster the relationship, not only for you guys, but their relationships within the community of this country, this state, whatever. And I mean, that's certainly going to be the case when Aiden is a little bit older. It's going to be we're already at multiple practices a week, so it's only going to continue to get more and more evolved. And our focuses are better served with our children than spending our Sunday evenings doing this. And it's not because we don't love to do it. It's because, we respect what is more important in life.
Yeah. And exactly right. The Aiden, Jordan, and Elliot's aspirations with their footy careers and everything, just as fathers, that's that again. And this isn't we're not stopping because of this. It's a collection of things, but this is the personal side for Colby being a dad, me being a dad, and making sure that our children, our family is first. And that was one of the tenets that we talked about when we first started all this. One of the first conversations we had was like, let's put some pillars on here. What's the priorities of this? And both of us agreed the very first thing at the top was family comes first. Kids and spouses, partners, whatever. Those come before everything.
Sorry, Steve. Sorry. I do apologize to all of you that this is kind of like a gut check or a hit to the gut, if you will.
Yep.
We knew that it was going to come with its casualties.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful for the responses we've gotten so far, and it not be super negative and just this, that, and the other, because that would just drive us even further out of it. But
Steve, I'm not wearing a hat. I'm not wearing a hat because I had to show off the fresh cut that I got.
Oh yeah, right.
on Friday, so I'm not wearing a hat because I had to show off the haircut, my guy, and also to kind of go along with that and somewhat piggyback off of Kelkster's comment. Not that she's saying this, but I am sure some folks will say they're just quitting because City had a shitty season. That is absolutely not a thing to do as to why we're leaving. So if you hear anybody floating that bullshit off,
let
them know immediately that there is an episode posted where they outlined the reasons why they are leaving and stopping, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the club. It's not about the boys in blue. It's not about the product on the pitch. It's not about they're just glory hunting American people that are just in it and doing it while City's good. And as soon as there's any adversity in the club and the record and all those kind of things, they're out.
It's an easy scapegoat to go to, but it's utter false information.
So I just wanted to make sure we put that out there too, that on record here, we are not leaving because the club had a down season.
Nope.
We're not glory hunters. We will be with this team. If somehow the 115 charges come down and we get a 60-point deduction and we're playing in League One next year, best believe every opportunity we have to watch, we're going to wear our City blue, and it's going to be the case. So
it can come that way. At the end of the day, though, Pat, I'm sitting on the high chair. We have to do this selfishly at the end of the day. And it's not something that we want to do entirely. Again, it's just what's best. Yes, this looks like we're conceding to them and giving them more volume. But, I think with the information given, I'm not soliciting that people go around and give the truth about what's going on here, but I certainly have some expectations that if things are negatively said about us, that the people that are in here and the people that do watch after the fact will see this and be able to nip the false narrative in the bud when it comes around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when the time comes for us to make our either joint or Colby goes over, we will be in the Etihad. There is not somebody over there that can prevent that from happening.
No.
So you can talk all of the big stuff you want to talk about. If you'll never set foot in the Etihad, you don't have that kind of control, my guy. We will be there.
I got you, Pat. I got you. Okay. But, I mean, it shouldn't be a few guys. It should be all of us. It should be all of us be coming together and being able to put our arms around each other and say, you know what, we know we're all from different places and have different perspectives. But we respect each other enough to respect those opinions and be mature enough to question them in a right way.
Yeah, like when the Snobby Boys podcast comments on your live stream about a thing, maybe instead of just throwing shit at the person who made the comment about it, maybe think to yourself,
that's not normal behavior for them.
So maybe, and I've had supposedly a relationship with them before I've been on their show. That seems out of the ordinary. Why don't I ask what's going on? And let's have a conversation about it instead of just coming out with hateful shit.
So there's that part. But the gatekeepers, they kind of tie into that. People have said that in here. There's tons of virtue signalers, and that's just a thing in today, especially on the internet, being faceless and not having any repercussions. There's just a lot of virtue signalers within the community, especially a particular podcast that like to be race baiters. I think you'll know who the fuck I'm talking about. I'm not going to say their name again, but you know who the fuck I'm talking about. We've had to deal with that a couple of times. And I think it's kind of wildly outside the box to condemn somebody for sticking up for the person who made the quote or the comment on this particular subject, whom was Nathan Ake. I was standing up for him as a person from Netherlands who didn't see an issue with people dressing up like, I forget his name, with the big hair.
Rude Gullet.
That guy. A particular person on a particular podcast felt it was necessary to chime in on the fact that I'm not black and I don't have a say in it. Fuck you. I can talk about what I want to talk about. And if you felt some type of way about it, there might be a little bit of lingering resentment towards one's melanin if that's your first take on somebody, especially somebody that you've worked with before and know way better than that. So there's that part. And then I'm going to give Joe the floor for this.
Can I go first?
But there is a particular podcast that decided to go off the rails whenever I called Big Steve out. And they're going to catch their lick on this. So, Joe, I'm going to let you have it.
Yeah, when all of this happened with Steve and Colby called them out and made a post about what happened with Steve and Daps and everything. In particular, one of the halves of their podcast, the boys out in
Hollywood,
in Hollywood, the Kipax guys, specifically Alex, because he felt the need to stick his nose where it doesn't belong, and felt like it was okay for him to slander Colby on their Instagram story with a bunch of shit that had absolutely nothing to do
with their podcast.
Yeah, but then has the nerve to say, like, but it's not about Joe. Joe's cool. That all came from Colby. This is the snobby boys with an S.
Yeah,
I have Colby's back. I'm not cool with you, my guy. Do not try and make it seem like I'm not a part of Colby and supporting what was said. I'm usually the quieter one.
Yeah,
he's the one that will talk louder, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean that I don't support him. That's my fucking boy. And for you to call him out on your shit like that when you had nothing to do with the topic at hand and had no inside information about anything,
nope,
and decided that you were going to spout your decisions and comments and opinions on it where they don't belong, you can fuck right off.
Yeah.
And to then double down in your shit and say that you fed Colby all of the help and we bit off of your shit and you helped us out with no reciprocity and did all these things to make our podcast look better and everything like that. My guy, you are so far out of pocket. You didn't help us out at all with the design. That's why our shit looks as good as it does, because we didn't take any advice from you. Just because
we are, Steve.
Good, Steve. But just because other people use the same fucking program that millions of people are using,
right,
doesn't mean everybody fucking uses it. My kids use it to make videos. You didn't corner the market on silly Man City reels, dude.
No,
you got hella jealous that our stuff was doing better numbers than yours at the time.
Yep.
And again, this isn't about competition. You just got salty about it and then started making posts every time we had a milestone event. Somehow magically, you had a milestone event and you got to 100 million views across all platforms that you fucking probably paid for. Actually, let me remove the probably from. You paid for them.
Yeah. Your Instagram account didn't grow over 3 days without paying for it, pal. We know how the shit works. We know when we see bullshit, and you're full of it. And I'm sorry, but Will, you being complicit with it, if this ever gets out to him, you being complicit with it, you just made yourself worse looking. So you all go on with your little fucking project that you think is doing so well when you literally are touting the fact that Chinese platforms are making you number one. Well, it's probably because you're the only American doing it, because nobody in America really wants to deal with that side of the fucking world at this point. Like,
what's the information? What's the source that you're using to get this?
And what is your source that makes you the number one podcast in anything?
We received an email from some alleged podcast thing that said we were a bigger podcast than Men in Blazers. Does that make it true? No, it doesn't. And then you have the nerve to tag other Man City podcasts in the thing if you want a non-toxic podcast
right?
to talk. And you tag Citizens Fancast. Guess what? Evan's our boy.
Yeah,
He doesn't fuck with you.
He has no respect for you fucks.
And then you tagged the same podcast that we were just referencing, whom you spent an entire evening, 2 evenings, in fact, in Columbus, Ohio, at the Man City versus Chelsea match with us hanging out, bashing them, making fun of them, and talking about how much you disliked them. Yeah. And then you want to be all boys with them afterwards? Nah, dude. Let's not play that game. You're two-faced. You're talking out of both sides of your ass, and you thought nobody was going to say anything. But guess what? It's out there now. You did nothing but talk shit about those guys, and now all of a sudden you want to be buddies with them and talk about how they're non-toxic, and you guys want to lump in with them. You're coattailing. You're trying to ride their coattails, much like you were trying to jump in with the Steve thing and get yourself noticed more. And it has nothing to do with you.
And you didn't get us Big Steve. I got you, Big Steve, because I got in your head and told you that you can do this. I gave you positive reinforcement for you to do it. I could have done it without your fucking help or not. Because I have balls to talk to people. Like, I'm not scared of anybody. People don't scare me. I've been around more celebrities than anybody that I know. And I don't just being a fucking whatever you call that. Yeah, it is all about it's me. Right.
That.
Then and again, this is just a show of how people are in today's society. It's not about a group effort or forming brotherhoods or fraternity, whatever you want to call it. It's just a selfish point of view. But yeah. So that's the short and curly of the long story of why we are wrapping this up tonight.
And again, all of this was to prevent us from growing any more disillusioned with watching and enjoying talking about the best club in the land and all the world. We did not want that to happen, and it was the right time to have the conversation about what we wanted to do going forward. So yeah, to his credit, at least he's upfront about it, I guess. But other people try to put on a certain kind of persona when in actuality, true colors from across the board, not just a couple of people, but just in general, colors were shown. People showed who they really were. And you really don't have to go digging for who people are, really. Oftentimes, you just got to give people the opportunity to show you. And that's exactly what has happened recently. All of this also happened right around the same time as my oldest daughter's transition to club football from one head coach who got unjustly fired and railroaded to which ended up being a good thing. It led to where she's at now, which is a much better team, a much better community, and is going to put her on the right path to get to the goals that she wanted to be at. So across the board, along in life, in the Man City world, podcast community world, just in general, people really like it. The course of the events that have happened over the past 3 months.
You better not.
Absolutely not.
You better not.
But all of those things kind of just like led to eyes being opened about how other people behave and us wanting to close up our inner circle even more than we already had started to do to protect our peace, which will then also protect our family's peace. Because again, family is the very most important thing to both of us. And if we're getting all worked up and riled up because of other people's shit and it starts bleeding into our daily life with them.
And into this.
Into our enjoyment for this. That it's not good anymore. It's not good for us. So you have to sometimes make the hard choice to put one's mental health and family's mental health above everything. Something that, yeah.
So without further ado, to rip the Band-Aid, this is our farewell, our goodbye. It's not forever, and it's not that you won't ever see us again. We love and appreciate every single one of you. All of you have stuck around and listened to us go on about this. Not only that, but all of our takes on the team. We may not always be right, but we certainly do love this club, and we certainly do love sharing the time with you every single Sunday. So with that, so long.
Say